York, the city that never sleeps. It's Where's Elvis This Week. Our guests tonight are Eddie Izzard, Laurie Pike, Scott Capurro, and Phill Jupitus. And now, welcome your host, Jon Stewart.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Thank you very much. Please. Please. Oh, very nice of you to say. Thank you. Welcome. Welcome to the show. Good evening, and welcome to New York. A city so good they named her after a cold, wet city in the north of England. I'm Jon Stewart, your host. I live right here in New York. I am, in fact, a New Yorker. And they say New York is very dangerous, but I don't believe that's true. I feel very safe here. I've got a chain in my apartment that goes from the wall to the door. And I'll tell you, you put that chain on at night, and that just says to criminals, hey, you're not getting in here unless you push with your hand kind of hard. My apartment has a necklace. How lovely. Welcome to the show that attempts to smooth over the differences that have existed between our two countries for, well, let's be honest, exactly 220 years. Until that point, I imagine you guys thought everything was fine. By the way, this week in America, Dole and Clinton are rehearsing for the big debate tonight. Milk prices have gone up 25%, and O.J. Simpson is celebrating a year of freedom with a big Sunday dinner. I imagine they'll be having turkey. Guess who'll be carving it? All right. And finally, where is Elvis this week? Oh, there they are, look. They're at the Republican convention. Elvis is shaking hands with Nixon, so I guess the Republicans' new open tent policy now includes dead people. All right, let's get to the show, shall we? There we go. I'm in the goofy chair. Joining me tonight from America, we've got filmmaker, writer, and presenter Laurie Pike and West Coast comedian Scott Capurro. That's the American side. Very nice. Thanks for joining us. And from Britain, comedian and broadcaster Phill Jupitus, and fresh from his sellout success off-Broadway right here in New York City, comedian Eddie Izzard. There you go. Thanks for joining us. So let's move on to the headlines portion of our program. We're going to take a look at what's filling the Transatlantic press. Here's a headline very quickly. I believe this is from Britain. Sex-crazed Fergie and the Gypsy. That sounds like one of her children's books turned pornographic. Phill Jupitus, explain that.
Yeah, Fergie, she's kind of the joke royal we've got at the minute. And
because the others are so respected.
Yeah, they're cool. She's kind of working her way through various different occupations. She sort of started having sex with the prince, who was a sailor, and she had enough of that, then an accountant, and now she's kind of onto the wacky kind of gypsy thing. She thinks, well, let's go for a gypsy artist, let's have a go at it, and that's what she's on at the minute.
Do they have gypsies in Great Britain?
We have a show here called Gypsy, which I don't know if she's had sex with the cast, but...
She probably has, but that's beside the point.
Why do you say, do they have gypsies in Britain? Is this, someone told you no gypsies in Britain? Gypsies, they travel around, they kind of...
See? 5 minutes in, I see we bridge the cultural gap. I think this is going very well. Let's move on to the next headline, for God's sakes. Let's take an American headline. Here's one very quickly. School kisses off rest of suspension. Laurie Pike, is this political correctness gone awry? What is that?
Oh, right. Well, there's been two separate incidents. There was I think both of them were 6 years old,
right.
And they kissed their classmates. They were boys who kissed their classmates, and the school went berserk, fearing sexual discrimination suits, and expelled the kids for outrageously long periods of time. I just want to get in touch with those kids and ask them if they're still, you know, available, because
really?
you can't get that kind of attention anymore. They were so cute. Did you see the one in New York?
So you want a man who will kiss you and then hit you with his lunchbox? That's what you're looking for.
And they were so adorable. I guess they've both been asked back to school, and I guess
right.
they got their miniseries deals happening at the time right now.
Is sexual harassment amongst children an issue right now in England?
As of now, yes.
Yeah.
Don't check with your teammate to find this out. Just answer the question.
No, because I was here in New York when because this story's a couple of days old or something, isn't it? And I just couldn't believe it either. I mean, it's a similar reaction would happen in Britain. It's just kind of gone bonkers.
If you're all carried away about, you know, one child giving a child a peck on the cheek over here and getting suspended from school, I think you want to try and see what happens at the public schools in Britain, the all-boys schools, and then I don't think they'd have any pupils.
Wow. All right, let's move on to the next headline. This once again from England. Bawdy Bishop joggles Britain or I imagine that could be retitled, Is That Your Rosary, or Are You Just Happy to See Me? Eddie?
This is very confusing, this guy. This is a Catholic bishop, I believe, and he just disappeared. And someone noted that, so they told everyone. So it was all the press, like a bishop's gone, AWOL.
Right.
And then everyone was worried, oh, bishop problems. And then they found that there was a multitude of children appeared.
Yeah.
He's a Catholic bishop, and he's had a truckload of kids, and
Oh my God!
and it's no contraception at all.
He's living.
And
At least he's following the rules of the church.
so he's hanging out with the Pope or something, and it's all gone.
He's living with a babe, too. He's got a babe.
Yeah. Then he sold his story. He disappeared, and there was and he had a son appeared saying, "I'm your son," and I don't know quite in what order this happened. It's just kind of confusing, massive children appearing saying, "I am the child of him who wears the weird hat," and then he sold his story to the paper called the News of the World, which is really tabloid, and so gets a truckload of money as well. I don't know what he's spending that on. Probably contraceptive.
Our final headline. Let's take a look. Umpires strike back. Scott?
Oh, yeah. This is a sports thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well done.
Yeah. And,
This is not password, by the way. You don't have to. I'm not saying that to you and trying to pull an answer.
A little bit,
Yeah.
like Betty White, so I was confused
Password,
for a
by the
second.
way, game show 10 years ago here. Not very good. Sure, you never saw it in England. Okay. Umpire strikes back.
Okay, so this is a baseball thing, and baseball's the one with innings and baseball bats and stuff.
Rounders, we call
Right,
it.
right. Yeah. Apparently, an umpire made a bad call, called a ball a strike, and the baseball player guy got mad and spit in the umpire's face. This team player was not suspended for his actions. The umpires want to go on suspension right now and not umpire.
Right, and that's a very difficult job, I imagine. It'd be very hard to
Umpiring.
find somebody else to get heavy and stand behind the plate.
Yeah, all that.
If you want to chill them out, chill out the baseball players, make baseball more like cricket. No seventh inning stretch. Stop the game at the seventh inning. Tea and cake. All served, you know, lovely waitresses out there. Sit around, doilies, everything. Have a little chat.
That's very nice. That's a very nice
They
plan.
should. There'd be no spitting.
All right. Now let's move from there and get into something meatier, the presidential elections. What people here really respond to are the election commercials, the unbiased way that they focus on just the issues. So here's one of the ads. See if you can guess which candidate paid for it.
Against creating the drug czar, against creating student loans, against the president's plan to limit cigarette ads that target our kids. Joined with Newt Gingrich to cut vaccines for children. That's the real Bob Dole record.
Just don't do it.
One's slogans can't hide. President Clinton, protecting our values.
Gee,
Wow.
how incredibly fair. And the attention to image and spin in American politics has even trickled down to their wives. As important to the media as a candidate's views on foreign policy and health care are his wife's views on whether brown or gray is the color for fall. By the way, it's brown. And it looks as if Britain's leaders, too, are going to have to pay a little more attention to their first ladies. Take a look.
Well, I think their clothes and their appearance is important. Really is.
Oh, definitely, man. You know, I mean, what's the use, you know, you putting on a good suit and getting your hair cut and everything, your wife looks like a rag, you know? I mean,
I think they should dress in fancy shoes.
Yeah, they're better.
I mean, they're the president's wife. They're the first lady. I think they should dress like they're our.
She looks like she's
more
from the
proper.
street sometimes.
it's the American way. It's like the wife is just like another, like, I don't know, another utensil, you know?
Dole's wife is too, she's too old, I would think.
Now, rev it, baby. Let's get out of here.
I suppose I could have stayed home and baked cookies and had tea, but what I decided to do was to fulfill my profession, which I entered before my husband was in public life.
Hillary Clinton, bit too overbearing for my liking. If she wants something, she'll ride roughshod over anything.
I'm the supermodel. You get, I'm got no dinner, is it?
Stand by your man and show the world you love him. Keep giving all the love you can.
Actually, I have the hots for Ross Perot's wife.
Well, I think we all agree she's quite a looker. Laurie, is this improper attention paid to a subject? Should we care about these women at all in a presidential election?
Oh, we should definitely care about them. I mean, they sleep with the men who can press the red button that can blow us all up, so we should definitely care about them.
Not they alone sleep with the men. I mean,
Right. But they probably sleep in the bed that has the button next to the bed as opposed to a Motel 6.
Right.
I think we should definitely care about them, but I think that the First Lady position should be an elected position. That way women like Norma Major, who, as you can tell, is dragged reluctantly into the limelight, wouldn't have to do it. She can stay home, she can freeze her cheese, she can bake her cakes, and then England can elect Diana or whomever to be the First Lady.
Does she really freeze cakes and whatever you said about cheese?
Well,
does she really do that? Or is that the image spin that's put on there? Now,
they have to do that. I mean, they have to pretend like they're very ordinary and mumsy to curry favor among the ordinary people, and I wish they didn't have to do that so much.
Are you disappointed in your country following suit with the makeovers for your first ladies?
No, I think it's understandable. It's got to happen. It's because there's people used to talk about, or still do talk about, that it should be issues and not personalities, but humans are just suckers for personalities. We it's a big, huge soap opera that, you know, the world is, and people are just going to look, and there's going to be more and more press, more and more channels, more and more people sticking smaller cameras up people's noses.
You can tell a lot about the candidate by his wife, how he treats her. One of the things that made me like Clinton so much was that he allowed Hillary to have such an important place in his cabinet, and that you can learn a lot about the candidate by his wife. So I think it's a good thing.
So what does that say about Bob Dole then?
What does it say about Bob Dole? Well, actually, that he's smart. I mean, when Liddy Dole did her Oprah thing during the Republican convention, that was very, very, very smart.
I mean, for people that didn't see, I mean, she came out from behind the podium with a microphone and started interviewing the audience, saying, "Look,
she worked the
Republican
audience,
we have a
Oprah.
black person, and a black person stood up, and look, we have an Asian person, And so she did the whole, Oprah
So you think she was actually walking and spotting people for the security to come in and take them out?
Exactly.
It's all very well of you to sit there and say Bob Dole's smart. You'd be smart if you were like a gazillion years old, wouldn't you? The thing is about he goes on about his war record. Well, did he fight for the Confederacy or the other lot?
Excellent. Well, what is your image? In Britain, is there an image that they have of Hillary and Elizabeth? Have these makeovers been successful?
Well, no, the thing, what you have to remember about Britain is that for over a decade, we had a first husband. We had Dennis. Mrs. Thatcher, we had a first drunkard, we had a first gin drinker.
Right.
You've got Hillary, you've got Smart, you've had Nancy Smart, smile, always smile, and then we've had Dennis. So sort of, oh, are we on? Hello.
Well, that's Roger Clinton. He takes that role for us. Is your vision of Hillary as a homemaker or as a policymaker?
Policymaker.
Policymaker?
Yeah.
Escaped felon, isn't it?
Escaped felon?
Isn't she some sort of... Wasn't she up for something?
You're going to get lots of invites, you're
Isn't she up for something?
Oh, yeah.
Yes, I believe it's a People's Choice Award.
Shouldn't the word allegedly be playing around your lips at some point?
Well, that's over here. I live over there. I don't care, do I? She's not like she's going to come down to Essex and suddenly go, oi, fatty, outside.
It would be interesting if you did. That would be an interesting profile piece. 70%, they did the figures, I heard the figures on this. 70% of what people think is the way you look. The next 20% is how you sound, and the last 10% is what you say. So if you look great and you speak with a deep voice and say, but just say cheese, elephant, fixed trunk, I am made out of banana cheese, and people go, vote for that person.
But that's why the Clintons hid their child for so long, because she's an ugly little evil thing. So they had to hide her in her braces. Well, she is. Well, you know, she's scary.
You tell me at 13 you weren't an ugly, evil little thing. We are all ugly, evil little things.
I have a photo. Shut up. Well,
she's an ugly thing, and it's called puberty, and we've all been through it.
And she's trying to date someone at that age, so...
Well, you brought up the issue of Chelsea Clinton.
Oh, yeah.
And
that's her name.
That brings up, the candidates are basically trying to go through this whole family values situation. They're trying to sell themselves on the family values ticket. But is it a factor? We asked people on the streets of London and New York if it mattered if politicians were
a bit careless with their affections. Here's what they say.
What's a president without, you know, affairs and stuff like that? You gotta have, I'm sure even Lincoln had them and stuff like that.
People in high places who are respected by other people should lead lives to the very best of their ability.
You know, the old saying is whatever anybody does in his or her bedroom, it's private business, and nobody has to interfere with that.
They should set an example. Regrettably, a lot of them don't these days, do they? But they should set an example.
It didn't matter to us when Kennedy was there, and he had plenty of intermarital affairs.
By people, don't they? They've got to show some kind of respect, leaders of their country.
Any man with an extra $100 in his pocket would have an affair. It's just the nature of men.
Wow. Okay. What do you got?
You got it? I got one, huh? I'm away.
$100.
I got $100.
I don't know what era she was talking about, but $100 I don't think would really do the trick
I don't
anymore.
know, probably when Bob Dole had his first affair, he probably exchanged chickens and goats for sex.
Now, that's the first real cultural rift we've seen so far. All the Americans said, of course the president's going to get laid whenever he can. And all the British people said, well, you've got to hold yourselves up to a higher standard. If the prime minister was found to be having an affair, would that take him down?
so to speak.
John Major having an affair, yeah. Yeah, and I'm on Slim Fast, for God's sake.
Oh, yes, faster, faster.
I mean, John Major looks very conservative, but surely skeletons in that closet. Surely there is a basement somewhere.
Yes, I know, but it's just skeletons.
I
think it's just skeletons.
A leather thing, and people go, naughty prime minister, naughty.
No,
Surely there's
I think in that closet it's just skeletons. You know,
Yeah.
just complete skeletons that just go rattle
And he's
then
got
go
a
back.
magnifying glass and he goes, now this is the humerus and this bone here, that's what he does with his skeleton.
Now, why the Americans, are we just dirty, nasty people that don't care where we stick it as long as you lead the country?
Can you say that again? Slower.
Let me act it out in mine.
I think because...
You know how men are. Men will hump anything that moves or doesn't move. It's just the way it is.
I think you want a leader. You want a leader who wants to get laid because that's incentive. You don't. If a guy doesn't want to get laid, he'll let inflation run amok. He won't care.
Listen, if the president's getting laid and you're getting laid, you feel like, well, the president and I are like this because we're all getting it on.
I can imagine that speech now. Ich bin ein sex machine.
We're not really the centre of power of anything.
No.
You know, we just move things around now.
We've got a
small island. And
we're ex-empire.
So you're saying your people used to get laid, but ever since you lost India, nobody's getting a piece anymore.
Yeah, but I don't think people nowadays, with the 21st century just around the corner, they're in Britain, they're so worried about if someone did have an affair. But it's just, they'd be kind of surprised, I think. Everyone's go, oh, right. If John Major had an affair, because he did have an affair, didn't he?
No.
Now
Use allegedly now. Use allegedly now.
Allegedly now.
Say allegedly now.
Allegedly now.
Ixnay on the affair, eh?
Well, tell us, what was it?
Nothing to do with the chef. Nothing at all to do. Nothing at all. No.
Allegedly.
No affair. No affair. Everything normal in Britain. Hi. Everything fine.
John Major had an affair.
No affair.
John Major had an affair.
No affair.
John Major had an affair.
Everything's normal. Keep watching.
John Major
It's the
had
conference.
an
It's
affair,
no affair.
with his wife.
No affair.
He had an affair with his wife.
You don't know. That's
It's
right.
like, but it's like every year a woman writes an article or writes a book about having humped Clinton at one point or another. And the Americans are like, yeah, next.
I just cannot tell you how pleased I'd be if I humped a girl and she thought this is worthy of a book. I can't even tell you. I think we can move on from. I think we've discovered that family values not really an issue, but always nice to have with the leader. Perhaps that's it. Speaking of family values, this weekend commemorates one of the proudest moments in American history, the 25th anniversary of Disney, the leaders in family values. And to commemorate it, Disney has built a real working town. So for 90,000 pounds, you could swap a 2-bedroom bungalow in West Bromwich for one of the beautiful homes in the Disney-owned town of Celebration. And those are the brochures. They actually have a town that's, it's been designed by the Disney engineers. You can move in there. They have houses. They have a healthcare center. They have a police department. They have all your needs taken care of by the Disney people.
Disney police?
The Disney police, I believe. Just
You're under arrest. Come on. Let's all
Guys
go
with
to
deep
the
boots.
jail.
Didn't Jim Jones offer the same thing?
Yes. Would you
Just
live
like
in a town
Jonestown.
owned by Disney?
No way. No way. Can you imagine being the first, like, mugging victim in Celebration? Like, you would
but
never...
there are no mugging victims. Disney is the happiest place on earth.
No, but there
is
will
no
be,
muggings.
because they're getting real-life people. I mean, the people aren't manufactured by Disney who are going to be living there. And therefore, they do have free will, at least when they move in, they will. And
as long as they don't have that Swiss Family Robinson ride.
How are they going to deal with, like, crime, which is eventually going to happen in Celebration?
I think they'll take the criminal, the first one they get there, put him on the It's a Small World ride, and make him live in there for 24 hours. No one will commit a crime again.
That's what you're going to be worried about, is being in your lounge of your Disney house, and suddenly the lounge goes, "Way," and it's off the
The first mugging in Celebration, the television news report comes on. Good evening and welcome to the news. Today a man was mugged in Celebration. He was hit on the head with an enormous cartoon hammer by 4 ducks.
But it'd be so sad if you moved there and then you were sad and your little dreams didn't come true. You know, Disney's all about dreams and love and laughter. And what if you moved to Disneyville and you had little dreams of becoming, you know...
What kind of people would move there?
Aladdin would live there.
Finally a place for him to live.
Doris Day.
Princess, whatever the hell her name was. I don't have kids. I don't watch this crap.
The Little Mermaid would go there and...
The Little Mermaid? She'd be the town tart.
They could all, like, have little Disney meetings and make cookies.
But we know that the people who grow up in a really safe environment, there's a lot of them want to break out because they think they're not in the real world, they're not really existing and living life. So then they have to go and live in a kind of Judge Dredd hell world, you know, where the scary world, the Pinocchio gone wrong world, and you live there, and they'd bring their kids up there. And
we'd be raising little, like, serial killers in Disney World.
Well, yeah, just mad, crazy town.
You know, they'd whistle while they kill, and that would be the important thing.
Dumb and Dumber.
Do British children, do you think they learn about America through Disney? Do you think that's their vision of America?
I think they learn about Disney through Disney, but not particularly America. They learn through
They don't
America
think
through
that's their
Die Hard.
reflection.
Die Hard's where they learn about America.
Culture.
I mean, and if we want to go to Europe, we go to Epcot Center. We don't even go to Europe. We just go there. They have little booths. They have England and Germany and France, and every now and again there's trouble. The Germany booth takes over the France booth. You know, things like that. But mostly it's.
Now what you've got Euro Disney, haven't you? You've got Euro Disney, which is just outside Paris, which has got surly French staff. So at Disney World in Florida, it's all, hey, how are you? And if you go to Euro Disney, it's yeah, quoi, okay.
Did you get to Disney?
If you want.
And let it go through. So I think we all agree that we wouldn't want to live there.
Nope.
I want to live there.
Do you?
Why do you keep talking for all of us?
I'm sorry. I thought you agreed as well.
No, you're right. I don't want to live there. Because you know why? The drugs would be bad. You know what I mean? I mean,
Disney? Have you ever seen Fantasia? There's good drugs at Disney. Trust me on this.
Very easy to score quack. Thank you.
Oh, Phil. Thank God I was looking for a segue. All right. By the way, I don't know if you're familiar with what happened to New York and Washington this summer, but please take a look.
I thought Americans were fine until I saw Independence Day. And I realized how unbelievably different they are.
Yes, Americans are exactly what you see in Independence Day. What a perceptive young woman. But stand by, Britain, because they're coming. You have already been infiltrated by the X-Files. Now prepare yourselves for the invasion of the alien shows.
We interrupt this record to bring you a special bulletin. The reports of a flying saucer hovering over the city have been confirmed. The flying saucers are real.
Ever since the first sightings of unidentified flying objects,
Aliens are not like that.
What the hell is going on?
People from the future have that little voice thing that Peter Frampton had. I don't know why. Aliens just always, I want you. All right. 5 million people in the United States have claimed to have had an experience with an alien or seen a UFO, which means about 1 in 40, which means probably 3 or 4 people in our audience here tonight. Have you two ever had an experience with an alien, with a UFO?
No. No. Well,
You seem evasive.
Yeah. Well, I was on a date once, and he seemed nice. And then I passed out and woke up with a tube top damp in a field, and I thought, well, something strange has happened. Maybe I've had...
And that's called rape.
Oh, I'm sorry.
That's called rape.
Oh, all right. Forget it then. No, I haven't.
In a terribly horrible, gruesome way, if I was master space aliens, then why do they put them back?
If you were an alien and you came and picked up an American, and an American got up there and went, oh my God, what's this button? Oh, this is so beautiful. I can't believe this, all the lights. Wouldn't you go, beam them down?
It's always, why is it always people in rural communities as well that get abducted? You always like getting it, and it's some bloke with like a cat diesel cap on in dungarees. There are 5 of them.
But here's the thing. Okay, aliens always abduct in the Midwest. Alien ships are large, very tough to park in cities, I would imagine.
Well, no, I just think, you know, if we are the, you know, if the Earth and animals came and we live, and then you take the next planet, and the rest of the universe, and there's nothing out there. It just seems, you know, statistics-wise, there's got to be some amoeba out there going, there's me, hello, you know. Who's got us? It'd be quite nice if people came from other planets and they were a bit crap. I think that'd be good if they got here and they weren't as good as us, and they came, we're not as good as you. We just got big rowing boats.
So they had terrible. If they came to our planet and they were like, look what we've got, and we're like, that's a toaster oven.
Exactly. I think that, you know, because when there's a big fight, all the world comes together, like in Independence Day, and I think that is the saviour of the rest of the world. The future of the world would be brilliant if every 5 years, aliens from a far-off planet who were metal monsters with no hearts came and attacked us in a rather crap way, and we all had to get together and go and beat the hell out of them, and we won, and one guy got a bad leg, and that was it on our side, and they were all devastated. They went back dragging their spaceships behind them, and they came back another 5 years later, so we still had to get together and go and beat the hell out of them. Then the world would be a happy
It would be
place.
harmony. Yeah, it would be harmony. What about conspiracy theory? Now, a lot of people say that aliens have landed here in 1947 at Space 51.
And they've had children. And they've had children.
Area 51.
1947.
1947, they landed at Area 51. They got the spaceship, and the government is keeping it a secret.
Oh, right.
Now, in my estimation, the government can't keep anything a secret. Dick Morris, who was the consultant to President Clinton, was in a hotel room getting his toes sucked by a hooker. That went out on the wire the next day. But aliens landed and no one's talking. All right. Do you believe in the conspiracy theory?
I do.
You do?
I think that there has been alien visitation. I think if you look very closely at Tori Spelling.
Your eyes are red. Very quickly. All right.
Are you familiar with Tori Spelling?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. Aaron's little girl.
Wow, you are familiar.
Yeah.
I don't see why the government would want to hide it from us. Like, for a couple of years, maybe, until they got to know them and group hugs and all that stuff. And, you know, we learned the language. And then let them loose on the American public. I don't see what the big deal would be if we found out if there were people.
So why would they?
Yeah, that's why I don't believe there's a conspiracy. Because it's like, well, why bother? You know, why hide them?
And believe me, the government is not that competent to hold something like that in. I'm sure the first day they landed, a government scientist went home and went like this. Oh, you wouldn't believe what happened today, but I can't. Oh, I can't. I'm not gonna. Don't even ask me. Tell me what happened. No, I can't tell you what happened. And the next day,
I got someone extra for supper. Sit on down there, boy.
Here's how we can do it. You can now get advice here in America about what to do in case of alien abduction in a handy pocket-sized card form. Here it is. Take a look at this. That's actually a card that says if aliens land in case of abduction, there's 3 things you should do. I really should have read that before the show.
First of all, offer them French fries.
Offer them French fries?
Yeah, that would work.
Why is that?
Well, it's kind of positive. They're not going to shoot
Ask them, like, this is what happened to me. I was being held up at gunpoint in Morningside Park.
I know, tube-top field.
No.
I know.
No.
That is all the cultural exchange we have for this week. Thanks to my guests, Eddie Izzard, Phill Jupitus, Laurie Pike. We'll see you guys next time. Thanks very much.